Welcome to Science with Sarah. Thanks so much for joining us today. Have you ever wondered how a cloud forms? Well, I'll explain it to you today. Plus, we have a fun experiment that you can do with the kids to illustrate the exact same process. So let's get into it. Now, before we talk about how a cloud forms, you have to understand what a cloud is actually made of. And even though it looks like big, puffy pockets of air floating through the sky, it's actually made up of solid and liquid particles. There are things called cloud condensation nuclei, and they are very, very small particles that make up a cloud. That's smoke, sometimes ocean spray, little pieces of dust that are floating through the air. And then what happens is we have water that condenses into dewdrops on them. And when you get enough cloud condensation nuclei along with those dew droplets on it, that's going to form a cloud. So when you put them all together, it looks like that big puffy cumulus cloud that we often see floating in our bright blue skies. Now, how does the cloud actually form, and how do we get those droplets to condense onto the cloud condensation nuclei? Well, it all happens as we have a pocket of air here at the surface where we live, and that's going to have a certain temperature and a certain humidity. In this instance, we're going to say it's 80 degrees with a dew point of 65. So that dew point, the higher the number, the more humid it is, and the lower the number, the less humid it is. Now, as we have this pocket of air that's rising through the air, it's going to start to lose some of its warmth. Think of it as you climb up a mountain, you'll likely feel cooler temperatures at the top of the mountain rather than at the bottom of the mountain. But we're going to keep that same amount of humidity in the air. It'll continue to rise up into the sky until eventually you see the temperature and the dew point hit the same point. And the dew point is what? The point at which dew forms. So when you have the temperature and the dew point meeting, you're going to start to squeeze some of that humidity out, and that humidity will find those cloud condensation nuclei and eventually form enough water droplets to form a big puffy cloud in the sky. Now, we have a fun experiment for the kiddos that you can do at home to illustrate this exact same process. We're going to kind of make a cloud in a jar. So all you need are 2 jars, a bit of water, a container, and some ice. I went ahead and I filled this with ice. It's beginning to melt a little bit now. You saw a drop just come down on our desk. But if you're going to microwave this water, and it'll be in the microwave for a minute to a minute and a half. You want it to be below boiling. And then you'll put ice on top of one of these jars. This one is going to be our control, so we have something to compare it to. You'll notice there will be a few dew droplets that form on both jars. But on the one with the cooler air on top, where the humidity is getting squeezed out of it, you'll see bigger droplets and more droplets beginning to form. Everything on this one is closer to akin to steam. Just a few actually big droplets are condensed onto the side of the glass. And if you let this continue to sit, you'll notice a bigger difference there between the control jar and the jar with the ice. Remember, the ice is acting as that cooler layer of air as you go up through the atmosphere and into the sky, and it's squeezing out all the humidity that's coming from this warm layer of water. If you guys do this, go ahead and send us pictures of your cloud in a jar. We would love to see it. And if you have any questions about science or weather, we would love to hear those as well and answer them on a future Science with Sarah. You can send them to our email. That's weather@cbs19.tv. Thanks so much for joining us. And of course, stay curious.